Hello. So if you're hearing the background noise, that's my semi-broken laptop chugging away at full tilt as it can to try to build up uh, edit up and compile the video that I'm trying to upload. I came across the realization for myself, at least, that I'd been overworking my thought process on the projects I was doing. So I've been like nobody's setting these deadlines but me. I don't know why I'm making this more complicated than it needs to be. So, with that in mind, I'm more of the philosophy at this point where I want to say um, that I'd rather do the animation work in however long it takes, but it should be done by the end of the month. I've got what 2 weeks at this point now, so I'm of the mindset I could probably do it if I let myself do it instead of beating myself over the head with these artificial deadlines and then feeling bad because I didn't make them. Like nobody else is holding me to them. And it's like, I got to remember why I started doing this project. I started doing this project because I wanted to challenge myself to do and create actual things worth sharing this year and encourage other people to do it as well. I can do that in 4 weeks. I can do it in 6 weeks. I can do it in 8 weeks if I have to. I don't have to push myself on that deadline, especially since I want to get started recovering the data from the lost computer, editing it in my new software on this computer, despite the fact that this one's fighting me to survive, and then get it up and posted. That to me is the more important thing. Now I can still do the Views Day nights, and I can still do the um, uh, regular posts of the regular content on my channel that I need to get started doing again. I let it languish for a year when I didn't have the means to really edit or run the equipment that I need to run. My laptop, my last laptop bit the dust, and as a consequence, I've been fighting with it since then. Blue and red corner. Do we have a blue and red? There we go. That's yellow. That's blue and red. All right. Yeah, sorry. This is something I've picked up recently. I don't know if I want to call it a good a habit or a bad habit, but it helps me derail my mental stress. And I've been debating whether or not I want to get back into doing the mental health videos where I actively participate in organizing my head into a better headspace for doing the things I want to do. And I think it was useful, at least to me, to document my process so I can remind myself at a later date of the things that are useful for me. But I also think it's as a good resource for other people to refer them to. If like these are things that have worked for me and they might help you out. Um, so I kind of want to do that again, but I'm not sure there's a space for it on this channel anymore. I don't. This isn't a mental health channel. This is a creativity space. So maybe more on these live stream posts, I could do something like that. Um, I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. I'm still a little vague on how I want to do things. Well, that's not right at all. How did I do that one wrong? Yeah. All right. So pull that back around. But yeah, so the animation, I'm not going to do a rushed together. Um, I'm not going to rush together a finished video. Oh, this aside. Um, I'm not going to rush together to put together a video for tomorrow afternoon for like a 6-second preview. Gotta keep fiddling. My brain just won't let me relax. Um, but I don't want to sabotage or undermine the work in any real appreciable way. So I'd rather do this in a healthier way. And like I said, there's no actual deadline other than what I set myself. And what I set myself was very clearly a jerky way to do it. I've made a cruel approach to doing this that didn't have to be that way. So I'm saying animation potentially by the end of the month, book by the end of the month potentially, maybe by the next month. But I will continue to work on them and update as I go. Tomorrow I do want to start, and maybe it seems silly to other people to start doing a third type of project before I finish the other two. But I feel like my mode of thinking, my mode of working is uh, done better when I don't have this kind of like sense of beating myself up when I've hit the edge of a project that I'm not doing more on. Like writing the book, if I haven't figured out the artwork, I don't want to keep bashing my head against that idea until I do it. I want to be able to let it go, pick up something else that I can do creatively and feel rewarded in doing. And then I can always come back and work on the piece, um, whatever, be it the animation, be it the well, that's not right. Be it the animation or the book writing or the um, next one on the list is the board game design. Now, frankly, board game design is something I think I could probably do relatively easily. Um, and I'm gonna, it's gonna be a very simple game. It's not gonna be like the most amazing game ever, but I want to make a game quickly, simple little game, stupid little game that I will price as cheaply as I can through a website that lets me put them up for sale and see what I can, put out there. And you don't have to buy it, and you don't have to like it. If you have an idea for a better game design, uh, I want you to make it and tell me about it. I will see if I can purchase your game if it's not too expensive for my meager um, income, and I will review it or offer feedback or let other people know about your great game idea. And like, that's what I want to do. I want to create things that I can enjoy creating, share with other people. That's what this is. Making this year about making things, making these things actually happen. No longer just like, yes, you can do this, and then not actually show the doing of it. I want to be able to get to a point where people can feel okay joining this community because they can see that other people are doing things and will support them in doing their own things. And I want to be able to finish the year and say like, yeah, I made a book, I made a game, and I know I can do this. I've done this in the past where I wrote 5 movie scripts or 5 scripts. I think one was a graphic novel, one was a stage play, one was a radio play, one was a TV series pilot. I think one was a movie. Now, maybe I didn't do a movie script that year, but I did 5 different types of scripts in a month, full scripts all the way through. And um, I've written essentially a novel and a half in a month for National Novel Writing Month. And I've created web comics that I created a comic strip, a year's worth of, I think, 2 or 3 times a week updates for 2 comic strips, web comics online. Um, I've created a board game, a card game, Runcible Foods. I've done this stuff. It's not beyond me, and like in most cases, I can do them quickly. My life's more complicated right now, and it doesn't offer me the chance to actually do some of the stuff I need to do without outside demands coming in and making it more difficult for me. But I can do this stuff, and if I give myself the time and the permission to switch between projects, I can do a fair amount. And I want to document the process. I I don't know if anybody's going to be interested in seeing these videos or not, but that's okay. I'm not I'm not making this channel like a lot of the people I interacted with, and I did go to VidCon. A lot of the people you see at VidCon are talking about how to make a business out of your channel and how to make a living being a YouTuber. And I look at that and they're talking about a living as if you're making 35 to 40,000 a year. I'm like, I'd be happy with, $100 a month. I'd be happy if I got nothing from this channel except a community of people that I could cooperate, share story ideas with, and help somebody come up with the idea for a game that they can release and make a little money off of, or uh, do a silly challenge with somebody else. Like, let's write silly short stories about um, like a dark, gritty noir fantasy about pink elephants. Like, let's just do that. And if you don't feel like you want to publish it for $1 through Smashwords or something like that as a downloadable ebook, then let's put a forum up where we can post them, or a website where we can freely exchange files with each other about what we've created. I want to do that. That's what I want my world to include. So, I'm recentering on this idea. We're only we're only about halfway through January, and I already got lost off of my path. I'm finding my way back now. Um, so yeah, let's have some fun with this again. So right now, script wise, for the animation, scripting is done. Um, rough storyboarding is pretty much done. It's a very short animation. Um, I don't have a lot of experience with making hand-drawn animation, but I think I may give this a go for this one. Not trying to do the computer animation design that I did before. I will stick with the horror theme because that's what the script is. Um, but so I want to try to finish up that animation by the end of the month. And if I get there, a few days later or a week into the next month, that's fine. I want to try to finish up the book. Probably by the end of the month, I should be able to expect that the editing phase of it is done. The structure of every one of the entries is done. I may have rough shots of the individual images. Um, and I'm hoping that this coming week, at least within the week, well, maybe within the week, at least by the end of the month, I should have some kind of game that I can uh, post about where people could maybe go buy it or download it or whatever I decide to do with it. Um, and then end of the month as a product or service, and that one may just be like a few simple things that I sell, like on eBay or an Etsy store or something like that. And that's that's it'd be great if I had all four of those categories finished by the end of the month for those last 2 days to update people on the progress and how I did that. And then start the new month with um, a project that I have already started working on because it's too hard to do for 7 consecutive days. Um, but it'll be fun to do for the first week of February. And then second week of February, I'm hoping to have, let's see, yeah, let's pull up the calendar. That makes it a little more productive to be able to not try to pull it all out of my head. I'm tired. I have a cold. I've had an ear infection for like the last 3 days. Um, I've been having those weird, funky dreams after writing that script for the horror fiction. Um, yeah, so the first and second of February is too short for a week, I think. But the third through the ninth, um, we one project. The 10th through the 16th will be the second project of that month, which should be artwork. And I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. I have some canvases. I have some art supplies. I want to get back to doing some of that because it's been so long since I've actually given myself permission to do that. And then 17th through the 23rd will be the third week of February. And that's a little tricky. That's the last category on my list at this point would be video game. And a video game between the 17th and 23rd, maybe, hopefully at least by the 28th. So I might be able to do that for the month of February. And if I do that, I might do the last week of February as like a summary check-in date, a kind of a decision of what the next projects will be for the next couple weeks. Maybe do, because when I originally started my channel, one of the ideas I had was I'd have the 7 main categories of content that I review and create prompts from. And then category 8 was sort of up in the air. I did the health, mental health, physical health category for a little while. I was thinking that's what I would end up doing. But I also, like, I want to do more content like this, where it's my own creations shared with people. Now, some of those, like I have my Faytown Noir Choose Your Own Adventure YouTube video that relied heavily on annotations, and I can't do that anymore. But I have some potential ideas of alternative mechanisms for doing that, and Choose Your Own Adventure has gotten a boost of attention lately, and I'm like, see, that's what we needed when I did this the first time. So maybe I would, by the end of February, reboot or refill some of that. So last week of February will be my own creations, because the choose your own adventure isn't really doable as a live stream. Because if you're going to choose the direction your story goes, you as the viewer, we can't have it. We can't have different people making different path choices at the same time and create both paths live on the same channel. It would be fun, maybe at some point, to do a choose your own adventure live stream where when you make the choice in the story, it's a link out to somebody else's channel where they carry on doing that part of the storyline. That could be extremely fun, but that would be something that requires a group of 5 to 7 other creators working together at the same time. That would be hard to organize, but if you could make it happen, it would be amazing. So if you can make that happen, if you have a group of friends that you think you could pull that off, do it and let me know. I'd happily watch that. I'd participate in that for sure. All right. So, yeah, I mean, I'm back into trying to get some fun out of this and end up creating something that I can say, like, I did this year, and I want to see it as a way to not only create for me and for others, but open a door for like sometimes all you need, and like this, some of what I'm doing is I'm like jumping, I'm cutting myself off here, but sometimes the thing that makes something easiest is somebody else making you feel it's okay to do it. And so, to a certain degree, the things I've chosen to do right now would be so much easier if I came online here and pulled up my channel, did these live updates, and there were comments on the side of people who were also doing this stuff at the same time. And we could check in and see how each other are doing, how we're each doing, and offer words of support. And that harsh critic within your own head can be a real jerk and make it so that you the the project that you're working on, that's a good project and other people would love to see, your brain tells you it's a stupid idea. And without somebody else outside of you saying, like, yeah, don't listen to that voice. Let's just see what you can do. Maybe it won't be perfect. That's okay. Still, I'm kind of curious what you do with it. I'd like to see that. That would be so empowering to me and to anybody else in the chat. Those are things I would love to see happen. And um, yeah, so if you know people who are into this kind of stuff, let them know I'm trying to do that. I may not get it right first tryout. I may not get it right for a couple months, but I'll get it wrong as many times as I need to. Like, it's okay to get it wrong. It's okay to be not perfect out the door. And uh, I'm going to do some of this in a silly way. Like, sometimes, just for the sake of making a game, I'm willing to be able to make a bad game. And it's not like, well, anybody can make a bad game. Yeah, but they don't. That's the thing. Like, there are bad games out there, but just like in the attempt to avoid looking amateurish, and in an attempt to convey a competency that one has to work to get to, we have a tendency to not do the work because you can't fail if you didn't do it. And in the meantime, you can spend the next 12 years checking to make sure that you're like every little nuance is going to be just right. And, like, don't invest that much in these things. Like, it's great if you're going to create a really great game. If you want to make the Cones of Dunshire, you go right ahead. Spend a decade working out the rules, custom made pieces, playtest it for 3 years. You just go ahead and do that. When I went to the game prototype and playtest group last night, um, there was there's somebody who comes to those meetings regularly, and she has these new games all the time that she loves, and she shares with us, and we try them out, and we come up with new ideas, and she's been reworking some of these games, and they're just fun to chat about and play and figure out. And there's a part of me in the back of my head, like when I first met with her, that was like, okay, so that's an okay game. When is she gonna, publish it? When is she going to release it? And I've started to come to the realize with other people who have created games at different meetings that I've been to, that not everybody wants to release their game as a commercial product. Sometimes they like the process of creating the game and having one to play with other people and the mental exercise of figuring out, like, oh, if we did this, it would be a little bit different this way. And that's all they need from it. I know a couple people who have had games like that. And that's an awesome thing to do. And that again is that experience of the group where we play with each other and share ideas and offer thoughts and ways to do it. And like some of the games that some of these people have created, I'm like, I would do this a little bit differently. And they don't want to do it that way. And it's not like, don't tell me what to do. It's kind of like, that's not where I'm going with this game. Okay, maybe I'm just overcomplicating it. That's fine. But occasionally one of those ideas sticks in my brain, and I should go back to those people and say, like, do you mind if I take this some of this concept and bend it to the rules ideas that I had and see what I can do with it? And if it's a game that we can't publish because it's too close to their game, that's fine. I still want to play and see what those kind of rules would how those rules would work. And maybe some other day I'll cannibalize that game for a game I put on market and just make sure it's different enough from the game that somebody else is creating. And that's all fine and good. It's just like that's what I want to do with this. So I was making this more stressful than it needed to be. Certainly not in a my health. I've had a round of a what has to be an ear infection because my ear has been driving me nuts, like to the point where like it feels like somebody numb. Like if you've ever had a dental surgery and they use Novocaine, and that numbness runs up sometimes to your ear, and then like afterwards there's sort of like that numb feeling or that weirdness to how your ear responds to sounds or touch. I've had that sensation across the top of my right ear for 3 days. Oh, and drives me a little crazy. And there's like half the time there's a plugged sense in that ear, and it's interfering with my ability to focus and be comfortable. And considering I've got like 3 or 4 videos to edit per day for other stuff, I'm just sort of like I'm running myself out here on a thing that's supposed to be fun. So I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do daily updates on different projects that I'm playing around with and let people know where things are as they happen. And when they're done, I'll let you know. I'll share them. Um, I did some research on the YouTube Live, and I don't think there's an easy way to share screen captures or documents or any of that kind of stuff live. There may be a way to do that on Twitch. So I don't know. Are people interested in potentially some of this kind of stuff on Twitch instead? I feel like I can get away with YouTube Live for some of this stuff. I guess I have to build an audience of a more appreciable size to get some of that feedback. But if you're watching this in archive, I know there's at least one or two of you guys out there that are watching these. Please let me know what you would rather see. If this isn't working for you, I want to know, because like I will do some of this stuff still because this is partly for me. But if there's something you want to see, let me know. I can look into doing it because I want you guys to also learn something or get something out of this too. Where did I get glitter on me? What the heck? All right, yeah. So we're about 30, we're 32 minutes in. So we're almost there at the end. So tomorrow is the start of tabletop game design. And I'm I'm still trying to figure, like, I guess tomorrow I'll come up with the concept of what the game's going to be. But I've got some old board game scraps that I can rebuild in a way that lets me make a game, and I could probably do it relatively quickly. So I'm hoping that I can do it within a week. But if I can't do it within a week, that's okay. Um, I can do it within 2 weeks or 3 weeks if I have to. And so a week from tomorrow would be by the 21st, potentially have a board, the 22nd, have a board game for sale in a store. And then a product or service potentially by the 29th. So something on an Etsy or an eBay or another service like that. And then the 30th and the 31st would hopefully be the updates on the book and the animation. And I think that would be a decent run. Don't forget also, tomorrow I'm going to be watching Thor the Dark World, I believe, as part of my catching up on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, one per week until after the release of the new movie in theaters. So, and if you have ideas of how maybe I could do that better, see, I'm not a talker in a movie. I will occasionally make comments, but that's mainly for here. If you saw me in a theater, I'm not going to acknowledge that there's anybody else around me. I'm not going to speak out loud. I'm just going to soak it in, think about it as it happens. But for these, I'll do a little commentary. If people want me to get really snarky and really get into like Mystery Science Theater kind of territory, I could possibly do that. But part of the experience, I think, is sharing the first viewing, the first interaction with a movie, because I haven't seen any of these, and I my reaction are genuinely how I experienced them for the first time. Sometimes that's not an overall reaction, so I'm still figuring it out. We're 14 days into a new year, 14 days of content, uh, at least one video a day for this channel after a year of not doing any. That's a big change. So I guess I will see you tomorrow at around. Tomorrow around. Oh, should we do the movie in the afternoon? I might do that. I'll give the movie a try around like afternoon, a little after 3 in the afternoon, maybe, and do my reaction then. Well, no, it's so hard because I've got got certain people I have to deal with each day around. It's not certain when I'll see them, and it's usually they'll come in and they'll want like an hour of my time, and that's usually running from 3 to 9 is the window that falls into, and I just like ah, I have to establish a schedule and kind of hold other people to that. I have to be able to say like, nope, not going to do that this time. This is my scheduled time for doing this. So I I still have to figure that part out. But I'm going to actively figure that part out because I think it's healthy for me to daily have goals to try to strive for. So I will see you guys. Let's go with let's go with I'm gonna say 6 to 8 roughly tomorrow for movie, and then 9:30 for start of tabletop game design. And I will try to set up like one of those previews or before party, whatever they call them for these, where you can set up a like a reminder that goes out early to let people know that you're gonna have a like the pre-party before the live stream or something like that. Like I know I saw it and I wondered if it was possible to play with it. So I'll see if I can set one of those up and figure that out because it's just one more thing to learn. And if it's a useful tool for doing some of this stuff, I'm going to take advantage of it. All right. We're now at 38 minutes. Sorry for using a little extra of your time. Have yourselves a good night. See you tomorrow.